I guess the first thing I wanted to ask was the second album. Can you tell me a little bit about how you approached making it, the process involved? I guess what I'm asking is how you compose songs, how you write.
Oh, well, we write in the studio. Yeah, and especially, it was sort of, we didn't have much choice actually because we had a lot of promotion. And up until March, like the end of March or something, we booked the studio for, it was like April 12th or something. So we only, we were thinking about it the whole time,
Yeah, but what she means for you though, because we don't, just entirely from its inception go into the studio without having anything planned, or else the companies would lose their minds. We have ideas, we're not one of those acts with them, or they're Macintosh at home all the time and constantly hook along and then just take it into the studio and plug it in. So we have the ideas and we write down, ideas, but we don't actually musically apply anything until we're in the studio. So and it's a real organic kind of situation. We produce ourselves, so it's a very fast process for us. And people have asked, what is your formula? What do you guys actually do? And there really isn't one set way. It kind of just depends on the mood we're in for the day.
So, you might just pick up guitar and fool around, and then all of a sudden a riff comes into your head.
Exactly. It could happen that way, or she could be playing the piano and it could happen that way, or we could be screwing around just with percussion alone and get a pattern and play against it. It could happen that way.
Do you work with other musicians when you're composing ideas?
No, usually not. Not on this record. And we did a little bit on the first one, but not so much on this one. We did it basically ourselves.
Is that the way you prefer to work?
No, it just kind of happened that way. We worked real fast, so kind of we left everybody behind in a way. Don't you think? It kind of just phew, by real fast.
Left everybody behind?
Sort of in a way. It was we didn't go ahead and call a bunch of musicians to come in and play on the record. I played the bass myself because I knew the part and bang, there it was. So instead of calling in a guy and saying, Nathan East is a big studio bass player in Los Angeles, I didn't call Nathan East and say, this is what I have in mind and I'd like you to play it like this.
What sort of lyrical ideas did you have for the album? Are they, because the music and the lyrics seem to work together really nicely. They're very complementary. It's the very lush sounding instrumental tracks with very exotic lyrics. Maybe you could just tell me a bit about the lyrical inspiration behind the novel.
Well, yeah. To me, the lyrics can't really be too intentional. It's not something like musically you can go in, and we did sort of go in saying we want to be more energetic and let's jam again like we used to, but lyrically it all comes from personal experiences and daydreams and fantasies and things like that. It's all really a personal thing. It's like thinking out loud in a way, but you get a chance to edit it.
Is it like, do you ever sit down with a piece of paper and just write whatever's off the top of your head, and then from there
that's what I always do, every day. I write like a letter to myself, okay, here I am in the studio, and it's time to write some more lyrics, and okay, brain, let's go. And then I try to start rhyming them, and, it sort of just stimulates that area of your brain or something. I don't know, it just seems to get all the cobwebs out.
Do you have to be in any particular mood? Forgive me for asking, but is there any particular mood that you have to be in? If you're in a bad mood, can you write, or is it always a good mood? Or
In fact, bad moods are great for lyrics.
Yeah,
They're really great because you find yourself with a lot to say, But I do find, like we worked in the studio in Malibu and it was on the beach and it had a sliding glass door in it, which was really great to work in, to see the sun go down and to know what time of day it was. But I found when I was writing the lyrics that I drew the curtains and lit a candle, and I had to really concentrate. For me, I guess I'm easily distracted or something, but I need that sort of concentration and I don't know, I write better in the dark than I do in the light.
What are your dreams like? You said before daydreams, but I'm wondering what your dreams are like when you sleep.
My nighttime dreams?
Yeah.
Oh God, they're nuts. They're crazy. I mean, sometimes...
Do you remember, whenever you dream, do you remember?
Yeah, most of the time.
Are you the kind of person who will try and write down your dreams and analyze?
I do that now and then. I did it for a few months, and now I haven't really in the past few months. About 2 months, I haven't really written down my dreams. But yeah, I do write them down sometimes, and it's interesting to look back on them because they do tell things about you. And even can be precognitive in certain ways. I don't know that much about dream analysis, like Carl Jung or something, but just on a personal level, sort of like talking to yourself and of the mind or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dreams are really interesting and important, and a lot of times they can shape my mood for the day.
I always do that to me. Whatever my dream was 5 minutes before I woke up puts me in the mood I'll be in for the rest of the day. It really does.
Do you, how would you go about, okay, let me ask you this. Let's say one day you have a particularly hectic day, you've got maybe lots of interviews and there's a lot of confusion, maybe things don't exactly go right. Are you more apt to dream that night? Or is there a pattern that precedes dreaming heavily?
Well, I do think, I'm sorry.
I think that definitely that the more tired you are, the more taxed your body is, the less likely you remember clearly your dreams. You can. I think your dreams really open you up at night.
What were the early 70s like for you? So you were still growing up, and at that time your parents were obviously so much part of the flower power generation that at the beginning of the 70s the whole thing was crashing.
Yeah.
And it must have been like, do you remember anything your parents were going through at that time?
Yeah, they were going through a lot. My parents were going through quite a lot. My parents are divorced now, so they were going through a lot. It was a good time for a lot of people and a bad time for a lot of people. It depended on what you were doing. My father was luckily working a lot, and my mom was, taking care of us kids.
Yeah, things changed. That was about the time, that my father started getting a lot more work, and like we sold the VW van and bought an Audi, almost the original yuppie, that turned into the me generation. All those people started getting into all these things happened like est, and my parents didn't do that or anything, but that was like
therapy.
Yeah, that was the mentality. Everyone's going to therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And to me, the music really brings images to my mind about that kind of era, and I knew that was pretty ingrained in yourselves, either through your own experiences or through your parents. It's very evident in your music to me. I don't know how you feel about it, but it's interesting. Your records are always just really enjoyable to listen to. It's not hyper or...
Not terribly, no. I don't think we're terribly hyper people anyway.
Okay, I know you're expecting this question, but I just want to find out about the time you spent with Prince. How did you meet?
She was first culprit.
Yep, it's all my fault. How did I meet Prince? Through a friend of mine that I went to school with. After we graduated school, she got a job as a secretary. And he was, this was right while he was making Dirty Mind. He had another keyboard player and he lost her to some religious cult or something. So he was looking for another keyboard player, and she called me up and told me about this opportunity. And of course, I said yes because I said yes to everything back then. I just wanted to do. So I just made a tape, with myself, sent it to him, and he liked it. Sent for me. I flew out to Minneapolis, and we played together. I didn't really audition with the band or anything. It was just kind of one-to-one with the Prince. And we hit it off really well. And less than a week later, I was actually living there. So that was my story. A couple years later, Wendy, just because she was my friend and everything, met him a few times, and she actually sang the background on something on 1999. It wasn't until the 1999 tour that Prince found out she played the guitar.
Fluke.
Yeah, it was fate.
My family and her family had gone to New York during the break of the tour to go spend Christmas there. And I was practicing the guitar in Lisa's hotel room, and Prince was walking to his room and overheard me practicing, but didn't know it was me, but knocked on the door to see who it was because he knew it was Lisa's room. Thought, maybe it's Lisa playing. I'll just look. He peeked his head over and saw me playing, and he was shocked and said, God, I didn't know you played. Why didn't you tell me you played? And I just was like, I don't know. You didn't ask.
Maybe a new job.
Well, it was the next day he asked me to play with the band, and then it was a couple days later that he asked me to join. So I was playing with my brother and Lisa's brother before I joined the band, but I was, in high school and growing up, I wasn't one to play in bands. I just
very, very introverted.
Yeah, musically, not any other way. Socially, I got along just fine, but musically, that was the essence of me. It's like being a comic. Truly hiding their true painful selves, right?
So did Prince help you to bring that out? Did
he forced it out. Yeah, you bet.
Was it very difficult? Was it painful for you?
No, it wasn't. No, he gave me all the room in the world to say, you have to do it now, Wendy. This is it. This is it. You're in this band, and this is it. What are you gonna do? And then I just kind of shed this skin and threw it away and said, I've arrived.
Yes, here I am.
I'm ready. Take me.
It must have been quite an experience, all of a sudden being thrown into quite a bizarre style, I suppose, of living and performing and attitude. Or was it very different from...
No, it really was not different from what we were doing anyway, and that's why it worked so well. There wasn't really any bizarre lifestyle at all. It was, it was all work. And we happened to have the best time doing it, so... It wasn't like I was playing any different style. I was playing rhythm, which is what I always did. We listened to the same records. We liked the same people. So it was no problem for me whatsoever.
When you say it was all work, was that getting the whole record? I mean, did you actually moved to Minneapolis and lived there?
Mm-hmm.
Did you live with him?
Everybody had their own places. Yeah.
Practice and play?
Oh, every day was rehearsals, every day was recording, or every day was doing this or that. There was always something going on that had something to do with work.
Is that something that, everybody knows that Prince is like a workaholic, but back then, was he more so, do you think, than he is
now? No,
he's
just as much as he's always been. Yeah. He's in the work bug, and I don't think he'll just keep going until he kind of passes out.
How, your time that you spent with Prince, can you tell me now how it helped you?
Getting in the habit of, although, I took classical piano, and that has a pretty serious work ethic, so that just continued that whole thing, and we learned a lot about percussion applies in a band situation.
Right, it's like you can't be the only player on the team. You got to work with everybody. That means, like in basketball, you could watch your teammate perfectly and get the right moves happening, and that's what it's about being in a band. You don't necessarily have to be flashy. if everybody was on stage taking solos at the same time, work with somebody. It's discipline, sure.
What was your favorite time? Was it a tour? Was it recording for a particular album?
I think there really wasn't one moment that was better than the other. They were all,
Oh yeah,
all
we had
memorable.
so many amazing experiences with that whole thing, you know. I guess, especially on a professional level, I guess you could say, you know, that whole year of Purple Rain was like, you know, going to accepting an off movie stars are sitting
that.
and
No, I couldn't even begin to tell you. Just a million different people that I like to listen to, but I don't necessarily like. I don't know. I can't get them out.
see, we get asked
I'm
this
sorry.
a lot, and I have yet to really,
Me too.
you know, have the answer.